In this session, we will review a few items that should be configured prior to your initial payroll setup. Once you have the payroll module enabled as a component in your Sage Intacct, there are a few items you want to review and make sure are ready to go before proceeding with the initial configuration. The first thing you should do is going into your roles and make sure payroll has security set up. So if you go into Company, Administration, Roles, go through the roles that will have payroll access to the system. For example, Administrator, and click on Subscriptions. Make sure that the construction payroll has the permissions activated. Just checking on the box here will not set security up and permissions for the construction payroll. You'll need to click on the permissions on the construction payroll role and proceed to go and assign permissions accordingly. In this case, it's Administrator, so I'm going to select All for Actions, Menus, and Objects, and click Save. And then click Save Overall for the Roles Subscriptions section. Once that's completed, you also want to make sure you have a few items set up from other areas in your system. For example, you need to make sure over in Time and Expenses that you have established your employee lists in the system. And if you are using multi-entities and you're working at the top level, go ahead and click Include Private to show all of the employees throughout the system. So you want to make sure your employees are set up here in Time and Expenses. You want to make sure you have, under the Jobs Projects module, have your projects set up that will be used for payroll tracking. And again, click Include Private if you're working at the top level. Make sure your projects are set up. And within the projects jobs, again, make sure you have your, under Setup, make sure you have your standard cost types and your standard cost codes set up and established as well, because when we are entering time, we're going to be required to code these dimensions. You also want to make sure you've established all of the entities in your system that you're going to be coding payroll to, and that you have your general ledger chart of accounts set up. More specifically, that you have all the payroll related general ledger accounts established in the setup already. And one last thing, in your jobs module, projects, job or projects, if you go into setup under times, you want to establish your time types that you want to use to track and break out your different types of times that you're coding to the projects. And if you click on types here, for example, we're going to break out our time as overtime and regular in the jobs or construction section. And later in the payroll configuration, you'll see we will link to those different types of payroll. At this point, you're ready to begin with your initial configuration of the payroll system. Thank you.